Well, he's a soccer Hall of Famer, National Soccer Hall of Famer, made 2 World Cup appearances. He's our friend Alexi Lalas, Fox Sports. He is joining us June 11th. All right, let's start with this. The state of the United States men's national team. What is the state of the team, Alexi, today?
I think we could accurately and fairly describe it as in flux, in that all of the positives relative to a home World Cup are there. The magic that seems to appear, the Brigadoonish type of environment that a home World Cup is, I think gives us cause for being bullish. However, there certainly have been some problems and some hiccups along the way. New coach Mauricio Pochettino, I think, is in a better place than he was even a few months ago.
Yeah.
But, there's this opportunity that's barreling down the tracks at us, both on and off the field, by the way. And you do hope that this team gets it together. But I think it's going to be in a very different way. And I think there are going to be some surprises both in the personnel and ultimately in the results next summer from a U.S. perspective. But I still remain heavily excited and cautiously optimistic.
What concerns you most about the personnel? Because I think we both agree this is an aggressive, talented, foot on ball. We are good in space. We're athletic. I think we believe we can go toe-to-toe with most teams, and we don't have to play defensive soccer. We can be aggressive. I didn't always feel that way. But what worries you about personnel? What are we lacking?
Okay, let's start with goalkeeper. We have Matt Freese, who I think is a good goalkeeper, potentially could be a great goalkeeper, but I have yet to see him make the saves that he shouldn't make. Goalkeepers need to make the saves, obviously, that they need to make and they should make. But the great goalkeepers, and let's be honest, from a U.S. men's perspective, we actually have produced some really, really elite goalkeeping over the years. So that's one of my concerns. Doesn't mean he can't step it up, and I think he is the number one goalkeeper right now. So I think he is going to be your starter, by the way. And I haven't looked this up. Potentially, if he starts for the U.S. team in the World Cup, the first Harvard man to play in a World Cup. So that's going to be interesting. So that's in the back. Scoring is, over the last couple of cycles, has been a concern. Flo Balogun right now, I think, is the incumbent, but a consistent scorer has yet to crop up, and certainly a world-class striker relative to the people that we always talk about has not cropped up yet.
Now, Pulisic is top 3, I believe, scoring right now overseas in his league. So I think we're as good as Pulisic's health. I think if he's healthy, and there's just certain players in my life, Landon Donovan, Dempsey, Pulisic, I feel like they're a bit of the soul, the fabric. And so I feel like if he's healthy, we're good. What is his current relationship with this new coach? Because it was a little frosty 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's positive. I also think, but it's a definite change, and the dynamic has changed. Actually, I just flew down from New York, and Coach Pochettino was on my flight. All that is to say is that I think Pochettino has come in and recognized that while it worked before with Greg Berhalter, keep in mind that he was a coach of a lot of young players, some teenagers. And whether it's Christian Pulisic or anybody else, they are very, very different men now than they were even a few years ago. And almost you needed somebody different to come in with a different type of message and a ruthlessness in the way that he has approached the coaching perspective. Christian Pulisic, I still think, is heading towards being the best male American soccer player in history. You could certainly argue he's the best player in Serie A right now. And to your point, you guys talk about stars all the time. As goes Christian Pulisic, I do think goes this team because he can do things that others can't. But he's never going to be the leader that people expect or want him to be. He is a reluctant star, but that's fine. He can do all of his talking with what he does on the field because, to your point, there's not a lot of people that do that on a consistent basis like he does.
Mauricio Pochettino came over. He had some success with the younger teams. I think it's unfair. I think the way our soccer works in this country, the national team, it's harder to galvanize. You have the downside to our quality of player is they're all playing overseas. And you were a rare guy to go over to an Italian league. You were, I think you're the first guy ever to go play in that league in Italy. You were the first. Well, now we got guys not only going overseas, they're high-end players making a lot of money. I think it's much harder to galvanize our national team. Where are you with Mauricio? he feels a little bit like a hardliner, and our young guys aren't quite used to it. But I do see his messaging. I do feel he's on the right. It's the right path. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, suck it up, Buttercup. Yeah, there's a new sheriff in town, and he doesn't take any you-know-what. I think that's a good thing for this team. I'm so glad that you brought up the relationship and the dynamic between American players and the national team. And this isn't me grumpy old manning the situation. It's just the reality of the situation. Is back in my day, when I was running around, when Kobe Jones were running around, we needed the national team. We needed the national team to establish, I guess, what the kids would now call a brand. We also needed it to give us opportunities from a club perspective. And that's not the case anymore. That's a good thing that our players are playing. But what I think Mauricio Pochettino has identified is that you need to recognize that even though you don't need the national team, you need to want to be on the national team for more than money, for more than fame, for the pride and the honor that comes with representing what I feel is the greatest country in the world. And I do think that he has instilled that. And he has lamented that maybe that generation, to your point, doesn't look at the national team as a must-have.
Yeah. What, when the draw happens Friday, best case scenario, let's start with best case scenario. What to you would be, oh, that's where they should play and that's who they should play? What would be the best case scenario in a draw?
I mean, so you can go through teams and say, for example, all right, you got to have you have to have a European team. So, maybe you got an Austria and a South Africa and a New Zealand or something like that. But that's all on paper. I will say this, you could get a group like, let's say, Colombia, Norway, and Ghana, okay? And I think a lot of people would look at that as, oh, my goodness, this is a big problem. What we have found historically is the U.S. men's team, they play up to the opponent. Now, look, I want as easy a path as anybody, but I also don't want to get complacent if and when we get a good group. And I think we're going to get a good group. So there's almost a part of me that wants it to be not really, really hard, but not completely easy, because I worry about them being and taking their foot off the pedal.
Hey, listen, in 2022, we were the second youngest team. We got a draw with England. We were outclassed by the Netherlands, but we got a draw with England. I was overjoyed we got out of the group stage. What is a realistic? So Pulisic's there. Our young players, Weston McKennie, are healthy. What is a realistic World Cup through the eyes, the prism of an American?
All right, look, if we don't get out of the group, it's an abject failure. I mean, it is a national disaster and an embarrassment if we don't get out of the group. Because, by the way, top two teams, as normal, come out of the groups of four, but also best third-place teams. So we should absolutely get out of the group. Not only that, I think no matter who those balls are that come out on Friday in the draw, I think that we should go in expecting to be number one and win our group. Now, what does a successful World Cup, and not just a World Cup, a home World Cup look like? I've told you before, it's kind of like, the Supreme Court trying to define obscenity, right? I can't tell you what it is, but I know it when I see it, right? We will know it when we see it on the field, because it'll make you feel good about yourself. It'll make you feel good about your country and the way that they are playing. That goes beyond the actual scores. And yes, winning is important. Don't get me wrong. But, if you lose because of a fluke call or a penalty here, and you played really, really well against a team that a lot of people maybe feel is older, we actually should get past the round of 32 and back to the round of 16. And that's usually where we falter, where we're coming up against a team that's better than us. And that's where the magic has to happen. That's where Mauricio Pochettino, who's being paid $6 million, that's where he earns his money, to do things that we haven't done before.
Finally, we haven't had a repeat World Cup champ since it was Brazil, late 50s, 62, 58, 62. Messi and Argentina. Your thoughts, and can they repeat?
I think they can repeat, and it's interesting that Messi continues to play at the top of his game. By the way, MLS Cup this weekend with Inter Miami and Vancouver, and Messi is the MVP and looking to get his first MLS Cup. But it's really going to be interesting next summer as Messi and his Argentina team defend their championship, their World Cup. Oh, by the way, in his new home and backyard and neighborhood of the United States. I think people are gunning for him. Like you mentioned, it's very, very difficult to maintain multiple cycles and win World Cups. Keep in mind that since the dawn of the World Cup, only 8 countries have ever won the World Cup. So it's difficult in and of itself, let alone to repeat. And there will be people that are licking their chops, not the least of which is teams like Spain, teams like France, and even though it pains me to say it, a team like England.
By the way, that looks like a junior suite. Did Fox take care of you in that room?
It's okay. I mean, I got myself a coffee maker here, and you know, I made the bed up. You know, everybody does these things from hotel rooms, and you know, you got to be careful what you have hanging around back here. But it's very, very nice. It's clean, and it's going to be fun.
Good seeing you, my friend.
Great to see you. You look great. All right. And I love the fact that you're so excited. I hope everybody tunes in this Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Fox. 3.5 hours of draw. And it's not just the picking of the balls and selecting of the teams. There's something for everybody. Even the village people are going to play. So come on in.
There you go. There you go. Takes a village, people.